Hello, and welcome to an episode of Drinking the Kool-Aid. This is a comedy podcast dedicated to the mysterious. My name is Cassidy.
My name's Amanda.
Do you like, I gave you like a little pregnant pause right there?
You did. It's the millennial pause.
Oh, I was going to say it was a pregnant pause because I have something to tell you. I'm just kidding. Can you imagine?
My God. Because realistically, I know you, and I know that would never
Also,
be how that would go down.
Yeah.
but still, there was like a little slight moment.
You'd be like, when's the appointment?
There was a slight moment where I was like, no.
No. I had to make that joke because Amanda posted on her Instagram that her best friend had a baby.
Okay.
And everybody was like, Cassidy had a baby? And as soon as I saw her post that, I was like, girl, you know, like 90% of your followers are people who listen to the podcast, and they are going to think it's me.
Okay. First of all,
She's spreading misinformation about my uterus online.
First of all,
Amanda calls every girl she knows her best friend.
My two best friends that I've known for literally 20 years I still say my best friends. They're my best friends. You're my best friend. They're my best friends. Kate is my best friend. I have a couple best friends.
Damn, this is good.
Oh, I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, sorry. I just took a sip of the drink we're having, which is an Ace Imperial Berry Cider. And it's strawberry, blackberry, and raspberry.
Don't
Amanda,
pregnant pause interrupt me.
Sorry, I know that was really rude, but I just wanted you to try it too. Pregnant pause.
So I post a picture of my friend's baby who I went to New York to meet literally this past week, who I talked about last week, Teddy. You guys know, I already talked about him. And I post a cute little picture of him sleeping. And so many people are in my DMs like, I know that's not Cassidy's baby. And I'm like, why would you think it was Cassidy's baby?
All the time we're always like, oh, we're best friends. And you have like a stable of like 6 to 8 people at any given point.
Okay,
that
but
you are
Kate
calling
is
your
also
best
your
friends.
best friend, and you would say my best friend about Kate.
Yeah, but I just mean like, but I would never post like my best friend is getting married.
Well, that's how I talk.
I know, but I'm just like, I would never post that because first of all, I know I have like whatever 1,700 followers on Instagram. Before I started the podcast, I had like 250 followers. So that means most of the following is people who listen to the podcast,
right? And
so I know it would be misleading.
Listen.
And also that would just be so me to have a secret baby.
Well, someone did say that.
Yeah.
Someone in my DMs, I said, I don't think people would think this is Cassidy's baby. And they were like, well, I mean, if people don't watch the YouTube, they could think that Cassidy would just be like, surprise.
That's so me coded.
Yeah.
Like every time I post anything where I'm a little bit dressed up, people are like, married? Did you just get married?
Yeah.
I sent a picture. I just went to a wedding last week and I sent a picture of me and my boyfriend to his parents to be like, ready for the wedding, like this weekend, whatever. Because I had talked to his dad about how we were going to a wedding that weekend.
Right.
And his mom immediately responded with like, whose wedding? Wait, what's going on here? And I'm like, anytime, if we're like even slightly dressed up, everyone, I got like a million messages. We went to somebody else's engagement party. I literally posted saying like,
that one was
congratulations to the happy couple. And everyone was like, you got engaged? Everyone just assumes.
Well, there was like wasn't there a balloon with a ring behind it or something in the photo?
I don't remember. It said like happily ever after or something.
Yeah, it was
that,
like clearly like an engagement like backdrop or whatever. So that one I kind of understood.
That one I understand more.
But it made me laugh
It's
really
so funny
hard.
because I didn't think about it at all until I posted it, and like I got 1,000 DMs being like, "Oh my god, congrats!" And I was like, "Oh, not me, no."
Or how about when you call Andrew husband on the podcast and people are like, "Did I miss something?"
Yeah, because that would so be me to get secret married.
It would be.
And like, no, I'm just. She says husband because she has a husband, and so it just gets in your head. You know what I mean?
So Cassidy's like, I want to say husband.
I want to say husband.
Why not?
It's my turn. Oh my gosh! Speaking of Andrew.
Yes.
Did I tell you about how some kids threw water balloons at us
while we
were walking down the street?
Oh, I thought it was. You know what? That's better than while he's cooking up some.
No.
Pita wraps.
We were walking down like by our house. We were going on like a kind of late night walk. It was really nice outside. The fog had come in, so we were like, "Oh, let's go on a walk." So we're walking out there. It's probably like 11:30, but it's on like a Tuesday. You know, it's not like Saturday night, kid, you know, everyone's out crazy.
Tequila Tuesday.
They were children.
Oh.
They were like definitely like 16-year-olds.
Okay.
And we're walking and suddenly I just see like water next to me. Like these losers, you fucking missed, you losers. And that's why you called me the F slurs, because you missed. It's not my fault you're bad at throwing balloons. But I was so confused because I just saw like water appear next to me. And I look at Andrew like, what just happened? Where did this water come from? Because they missed. They went like right in between us. And then I see the kid, like hear them like revving their engine next to us. And I look over and they're wearing masks, of course, and flipping us off and calling us the F slur.
Oh my
and
gosh.
then they speed off, like speed off. And I was like, you missed. What did I do to you? It's not my fault that your parents didn't love you enough to put you in T-ball or whatever. You've learned how to throw something accurately. You're like 5 feet away from me and you missed. Clearly no athletes in that family. That's all I'm saying.
Also, they're really lucky that you didn't put 2 and 2 together early, like a little earlier, because knowing you would have fucking picked up something on the side of the road and started chasing after them.
Yeah, no, they're very lucky. I would have had a picture of their license plate and I would have been on the phone with their father the next morning. Are you joking me?
Right.
Because they were definitely like 16-year-old kids. Like they're kids. But they're in like some nice ass car. So I'm like, oh, you're going to come over here from the rich neighborhood to like terrorize the poors? Fuck you.
A couple of weeks ago, Sam was walking our dog and a car full of children threw like a perfume bottle at his head.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And then he comes in the house. Okay, this was scary actually. I was like cooking. He comes in the house so angry.
They
and
missed,
I'm like,
of course.
They missed.
Okay.
But what if they didn't?
Yeah.
It was like a heavy perfume bottle,
No,
like
I
a
had
big
a guy,
one.
I had a guy throw a full beer can at the back of my head
like
the other
that's
day. In the middle of the day.
Not okay.
Yeah.
And then Sam ran out to his car and grabbed his golf club and started running down the street, and he was trying to find them.
Good for him.
I know he didn't find them though.
Vigilante justice.
But I was like, what are you doing? Ah!
No, I was walking almost I was like 1 block over from where the water balloon incident happened. And I was walking, I see this guy, he's talking to himself, but it's like, I'm not here to judge, whatever. There's plenty of nice people who are a little down on their luck.
I talk to myself.
And so he's there and I'm like, I'm just going to give him a wide berth just to be polite because he's got like all this stuff there.
A wide berth?
Yeah, like I'm going to like move a little bit to like the far left of the sidewalk.
You're really using these pregnancy
I know,
terms
what is
today.
that?
What's going on here?
Why are there so many of those in like...
I've never heard you say them before.
Really? Oh, I say pregnant pause all the time. I love it.
Mm.
I think it's the funniest way to like say like a pause is filled with something.
Right.
And as I walk past him, I hear him like yell at me like, whatever, dumb bitch, cunt, fuck you. And I'm like, all I did.
Cute.
Like, who, me? You mean me? And I just see this full beer can whiz by my head. And some other dude was crossing the street in front of me. He sees it. He runs back and starts yelling at this guy, being like, you fucking loser. Like, what the fuck? You don't fucking do that. And this guy's looking at me going, you want me to beat his ass? I'll beat his ass. And I'm like, no, I don't want you to beat his ass. I just want to get out of here like immediately. And he's like, okay, I'll walk you down the street. And so I'm like, oh, now like this is weird.
And now this like random dude
Now
is
this like
walking
random
you down the
stranger is
street.
like walking me down the street. But then he was super nice and was like, hey, I'm gonna walk. Like I'm going this way, but I'll walk you. At least so you're a block away. And he's like, if you see that guy, like avoid him. He's like, real bad. Mean, crazy, not just like he's not a good guy.
Yeah.
He was telling me like I've seen him around here, like I've seen him do some stuff, like avoid him. I was like, wow, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, that's very nice.
And then he was like, have a wonderful day, and just walked away. I was like, okay, geez, like thanks. That was
and
really
thank
nice.
you, sir, for not being some crazy man that wants to skin me alive.
Yeah. Well, he was like, it was so funny. He tells me, just so you know, I would have beat his ass. I only didn't because you told me not to. And I was like, okay, yeah, please don't. Not on my behalf. Like, if I'm going to beat ass, I'm going to beat it myself. You know what I mean?
That's so true.
And obviously, that dude's going through some stuff. I'm not here to make it worse. I am very happy he did not hit me in the back of the head with a full beer can, though. Yeah. Probably would have knocked me out, man.
Oh, and it was like full.
Oh, it was full.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like the 40. It was like a 40 of, it was like a 40 of course. Yeah.
That would have knocked you out for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it whizzed, man. It like
also, sir,
it was like I was in the Matrix. I could like feel the wind like like blew my hair.
Why are you wasting your full 40?
Yeah, bro.
What a waste.
That is a waste. We do not waste beer in this house.
No, we do not.
Yeah. This is city living, everybody.
Wow. Good times.
City living.
City living had me a blast.
Yeah. It is crazy. I just never assume anyone's like talking to me out in public. And that's happened to me so many times where like someone is trying to like yell at me or be mad at me and I'm looking around like, who got in trouble with this guy? It's actually me.
Like, wow, I'd hate to be that person.
One time I was walking down the street. So we have like all the gay bars are on Broadway in our town. And there's like 4 of them right in a row. And it's like 4 p.m. on a Thursday. I'm doing my hot girl walk. bopping around. I got my headphones in, whatever. And I see
Walking
like
past the gay bars, like, hey.
yeah, I just like walked past all the gay bars, whatever. I wasn't really thinking that much of it because it's usually where I walk. And I see like this like gaggle of children on bikes, and as they're approaching me, they like some of them get onto the sidewalk and some of them stay in the bike lane, so they're on either going around either side of me, which I'm like, okay, it's annoying, whatever. And they all like slow down and they start yelling the F slur.
Why does that happen to you so often?
And I'm thinking in my head, oh, like
not me.
Well, I'm thinking there's got to be like somebody who's very, visibly queer or flamboyantly. I just walked past all the gay bars.
Right.
And so that's what is happening in my head. And so I'm like, oh my God, these kids are about to get their ass beat. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, they're about to piss off the wrong dude walking down Broadway right now. And I turn around and there's no one there, and they're all talking to me, and they like circle me and literally are like yelling at me about how I'm the F slur and I'm going to hell and I'm like all this stuff, like really mean, and then just like sped off.
Wow.
Something about my face just screams, call me a slur, apparently.
Apparently.
Call me a queer slur.
Never happened to me. So
yeah, it's happened to me more times than I'm even admitting right now.
Dang.
But it was so weird. They like encircled me.
Yeah, no, that's
and hate crimed me.
Yeah, they did. That's really fucking
like, oh, God.
creepy. Jeez.
So weird. Yeah, kids are scary. I'm really scared of teenagers.
Thank God that's never happened to me because I would cry.
I just think that because I walk everywhere, like I know I've said this before on the podcast, but I always have crazy things that happen to me because I'm out on the street so much more than people who don't walk.
Yeah.
Like I'm interacting with strangers so much more often than people who have cars.
Yeah.
So I just have weirder interactions with people.
Being in New York always does make me feel a little more feisty than usual. I almost got into a fight with some older gentleman at the bagel store.
Oh yeah, you sent some texts about
Yeah.
that. It was really early in the morning though, so I
That
kind of breezed through those ones.
piece of shit motherfucker. And as I was leaving, I was like, this is why I left New York. I'm like screaming.
She was like in the text, I just see like in all caps, like, this is why I fucking hate New York. This is why I love California. And then Kate, who is also our friend who's also from New York and now lives in Long Beach with us. New Jersey. But she sent like basically the same thing. She's like, yeah, we are not built for that anymore.
No.
Like you come out to California and like, oh, everyone's so nice.
Literally, this guy, oh my God. Fucking pissed me off. He was like 50 years old too.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, like you're a grown up, sir.
yeah. And I'm standing there probably like 5 feet shorter than him. And I was like, what'd you just say? What'd you just say?
Wow, welcome. It's like day in the life of me is what
Yeah.
you feel is like you experience.
And then my uncle and my mom were like, what is going on? And then I just leave. I just left the bagel store.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I
had no idea.
I'll never forget, and I've said it, I'm sure I've said it on the podcast before, but one of my favorite things when me and Amanda first moved to the West Coast together, she'd never really been out here. And she was telling me like, I must be hot out here because I'm getting hit on every time I go to Rite Aid, every time I get a coffee. I'm like getting hit on. I'm like, yeah, girl, get it. Like,
Turns out not hot in California, guys.
Turns out, so we go to like Rite Aid or something 2 days later. We're both getting water bottles. We're going to the beach. And the guy checking her out is like, hey, yeah, thanks. How's your day going? What are you doing? Oh, you're going to the beach. That's so fun. Like, I hope you have a great day. And she like looks me over the shoulder like, you see what I mean? And I was like, oh no. People are just nice out here.
They are
I was
nice
like
out here.
laughing so hard because when I went out, she's like, see that? That's what I mean. I'm getting hit on left and right. And I was like, oh, he was being polite.
Listen, it didn't take me long to figure out that I was not even close to an 8 in LA.
Oh,
okay.
There's something so humbling about being in Southern California that probably is not good for my psyche.
I mean, we've been out here so long now. It's whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm over it.
But yeah, I always think of that story. I ran into somebody the other day who was visiting from the East Coast, and that was the first thing she said is, oh, everyone out here is just so nice, because she was chatting with me. We were like randomly in line somewhere, and she's chatting with me, and she's like, everyone out here is just so nice, and it made me think of that story again. Love it.
You know
it's
what?
so funny.
Because in New York, like even I was in Kohl's with my mom, and she like couldn't find her phone, and she thought she left it over at like the returns area. So I went over there just to see if the phone was there and to ask the lady. The lady was so mean to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I just was trying to and I was like, okay, never mind. I
Yeah.
just like walked away. She was so mean. I'm like, is customer service just not the same everywhere? Like, it's
It is not.
crazy.
No. No.
And I can't believe I lived there for 21 years of my
You
life.
did. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Because I like to think that I was nice even when I lived there. Maybe not. I don't know. Actually, I think I'm meaner now than I was.
Yeah. Well, you were a pushover when you were younger.
Yeah. Like maybe I
Now
have,
you stand up for
I have
yourself.
like a little bit of a thicker skin.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say thicker skin because you'll stand up for yourself, but you'll still cry about it later.
Well, yeah, later. When no one's around.
When they don't see it
I
happening.
mean, they tend to see it though. They still
You're
see
like,
it.
I can't really
I
hold
think
in.
that I think they're not seeing it, but
Yeah.
the tears are just streaming down my face.
Dang, there is nothing like, you're God's least favorite when you're one of those people who cries and they get angry.
I can't help it.
Yeah. Because it's not fair, because it like totally invalidates your anger.
It really does because, like, I mean, you guys know I'm a crier, but like at work, there's been times where I used to cry because people would yell at me and I was sad, right?
Yeah.
But then I just got pissed off and I would still kind of tear up a little bit. And people were like, oh, Amanda cried. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I was just angry. And they're like, yeah, but you cried. I'm like, well, it's not the same kind of cry.
It's not the same. Yeah, but people like perceive it the same. Like, oh, she's so weak. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I stood up for myself. I just happen to also cry when I yell.
Yeah. I can stand up for myself with tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
Okay?
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Grow
You
up.
Try to do that. I dare you.
Fucking dare
Okay.
you. Even if you're 5 inches taller than her and in a bagel shop, she doesn't fucking care.
I also dare you to cry when you're delighted and when you're scared and when you're pretty much anything, any
Hey,
emotion.
I was gonna say that was most of my bridesmaid speech
I
for
know.
you. So,
I know. It was dead on. Spot on.
which if you're on Patreon, you can go listen to. Amanda posted. She was a little wine drunk and getting a little
I was
weepy,
very wine drunk.
and she posted my maid of honor speech on
Patreon.
on our Patreon. Yeah, so
On
you
my
can go-
Patreon.
on her Patreon. So you can go watch that if you want to.
Yeah, I was like, I had way too many glasses of wine. I was like, I need everyone to see this.
It
It's
sounds
so
like it's
good.
the perfect amount of glasses of wine.
No, it was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah,
It was really good wine too. So
I like wine.
I love wine.
I go through phases where I don't want to drink it, but I feel like this summer's gonna be a wine summer.
Well, it's an Aperol spritz summer, but we could throw some wine in there every now and again.
Yeah, maybe I could have like a white wine spritz.
You know, now that we're talking about spritzes, I don't know how this happened. It's crazy that we're talking about spritzes, but there's different kinds of like spritzes that we need to have this summer.
Oh yeah, there's tons. I've had all sorts of them.
Oh, you've had all sorts of them.
I've had multiple different spritzes. I went through a phase where if that was on the menu, I would order it.
Okay, well, I haven't.
You know where they
so-
have a good one? Marlena. We should go to brunch there.
Okay, great.
It's a little pricey. So it's like one of those things where you're just going to have to accept that you're going to spend more money than you want to.
Poppycock.
But it is probably one of the best restaurants I've ever had in my life.
I will spend all of the money for some good food
Yeah.
and good drinks.
You guys, Marlena, if you're in the SoCal area, it's called Marlena. It's on Naples Island in Long Beach. So in between like Long Beach and Seal Beach kind of. And parking's terrible. It's the littlest place in the world, but it is the best fucking food. I have
Right.
not had anything bad there.
We're
ever.
going.
Even stuff that I normally wouldn't eat, I will have there and be like, holy shit.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. And they have a really interesting spritz on their menu.
I want to have this girl ordered a Hugo spritz from me.
I think that's what they have.
okay,
on
which is like I think
theirs.
it's elderflower.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I really want to try it. It looked good.
I love elderflower stuff, so.
I'll drink anything that has spritz after it.
Yeah.
So
As we learned from last week, Amanda said, I'll drink anything that has alcohol in it.
I know I will. My mom didn't like that one.
Oh, did she listen?
Yeah.
Dang. You got in trouble and you were with her in
And I was
person
with her.
too. Dang. Chastised.
She was like, "Oh, my kids just love alcohol." I was like, "Yes, I do."
You're like, the world is a really difficult place right now, mother. Give me a break. I can drink 2 times a week, okay?
Yeah.
It's fine.
I mean, I did drink almost every single night that I was in New
you're
York,
on vacation.
but that's okay.
You're on vacation.
It's a vacation.
That's fine.
Who cares?
Oh, man. Speaking of people who are doing great,
I hope they're doing great.
let's welcome some of our new patrons.
Okay. We got quite a few this week.
We did. So welcome to Jose M.
Hello, Jose.
Which I also think it was Jose's birthday recently. So if I'm correct on that, happy birthday.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Welcome to Sydney A.
Hello, Sydney. We love a Sydney.
Welcome. Yeah, named just like our producer. Spelt different, but we'll take it. Welcome to Jennifer M.
That's my cousin.
I was going to say,
out.
is this your cousin's last name?
Yes, it is.
And then this is a name I know I'm going to butcher. So if you would like to correct me, please, and I will say it again next week. And welcome to Sabazois.
Oh, we said this wrong last time.
Sabazois?
Yeah. Because they joined like a year ago.
Oh,
and I think they're back. I think we said it Sebastus last time, which I feel like both of them are wrong.
Yeah.
So please correct us.
It seems French.
I like it.
It's a really cool name. Any name with a Z in it, I can get behind. I even Googled it, and it turns out that's not a common name.
Can we call you Seb?
Seb, welcome Seb. And then they're like, fuck you, learn how to pronounce my name, which
I know.
you're right.
Just let us know.
We should learn how to pronounce your name.
so much.
And last but not least, welcome to Shayla.
Hello, Shayla.
So thank you guys so much for joining our Patreon. We actually had quite a few people join. Wow.
I know, there's a lot.
There's a lot in here. So thank you guys so much. The only reason we get to keep doing this podcast is because of you. We have our serial killer series on there. We have a new bonus episode coming out. It'll probably be out by right now. And that is a full episode, like almost 2 hours long, of me and Amanda just drunkenly telling each other. We're a little tipsy. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, we were.
The hard kombuchas were flowing.
They were.
Yeah.
Because that was our second episode of the day. And I think we were a little...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had like started when we probably should have been eating lunch, and then we finished by dinner time. Always dangerous, but it was really fun. So go listen to that. Amanda's story made me cry, and I was really upset. But my story was fun.
It was.
So
it was
a little bit of both.
It's a good balance.
So thank you guys so much. If you would like to join our Patreon, you can do that at dtkpod.com/support. You can also find ways to buy our merch there, ways to follow us on social media or on YouTube, which you definitely want to do because that's where you see all the photos and videos and stuff from today's episode.
And us.
Oh, and follow us on TikTok. We are trying to post on there more. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I love when she does this.
Want to know something that I learned this week?
What'd you learn?
Okay, you know when you go to the eye doctor?
No.
And they like make you open your eye and they do like the little puff?
No.
No?
I have perfect eyesight.
That doesn't mean you should still go to the eye doctor. How do you know it's perfect if you don't go to the eye doctor?
Why do I need to go to the eye doctor?
Because what if it's not perfect?
Well, I can see.
So you think.
You can dance.
I thought my eyesight was great until I went to the doctor.
You thought your eyesight was... You were blind as a bat.
Yeah, and guess what? You don't realize how blind you are until you go to the doctor and then they give you glasses and you're like, fuck.
Babe. You are blind. I don't know how you even like walked through life before you had sunglasses.
I'm doing it right now. Doing it right now just because it was too hot and it was making my nose sweaty when I was wearing my glasses.
Okay, so you go to the eye doctor. They do a puff in your eye.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not a little puff. Sometimes it's a puff of air and also a little plastic thing that pokes you in the eye. I didn't know that.
It pokes you in the eye?
Yeah. But it happens so fast you don't even like register it.
Oh, I don't do eyeball stuff.
What are you going to do when you're going to need glasses one day?
Why? How do you know? Not all old people wear glasses.
No, but most.
I mean, both my parents do.
Yeah, you probably need glasses now.
I don't. I have perfect eyesight. I can see everything.
You do not know if you have perfect eyesight if you haven't been to the doctor.
I'm telling you right now. I can read so many things.
Girl.
What does that say over there?
I don't know. What does it say? Yeah, do you see that? That is not perfect eyesight. She's literally squinting her eyes right now to read something.
It's just really far away.
It's not really far away. It is maybe 5 feet from her.
You can't see it.
And I wear glasses. If I had my glasses on, I could see it.
Well, I don't need glasses.
I'm just saying you can't say you have perfect vision if you've never gotten your vision tested.
I mean, I always wanted glasses, so I don't know why I'm even fighting you.
Yeah, I don't know. You're getting really mad. Girl, you're going to need glasses one day.
Listen, I also need braces. And that's not happening.
You do not need braces.
Well, my snaggy
Do
tooth.
not listen to her. This is the most annoying thing that Amanda does. It pisses me off every time. She's like, I have a snaggle tooth. I'm like, You do not have a snaggletooth.
If
You're
it
just a
was-
psychopath.
If it was that big of a deal, I would have braces.
It seems like it's a big deal. You bring it up a lot.
It's a little snaggletooth.
It is not a snaggletooth. Her teeth just aren't perfectly straight.
It
and
goes
guess what? Neither are mine.
above the other one. That's a snaggletooth.
Have you seen my teeth? My teeth? Look at that.
But that's not a snaggletooth.
But they're way more crooked than yours.
They're just a little.
And guess who else has crooked teeth? Scarlett Johansson. So shut the fuck up.
I didn't say it was a bad thing. I just said I had a snaggletooth.
You said that you would get braces if you could. Or you said you need braces.
I did say that, didn't I?
Yeah. So yes, you did.
There's a
imply it's
lot
bad
of things
thing.
I would do if I could, but I don't.
Thank fucking God. Jeez Louise. You're very defensive today.
Am I?
Yeah.
It's a lack of sleep.
That's true. You were literally on a plane all day.
Yeah, I was.
You were on a plane like 3 hours ago.
I was. And I just had my first cup of coffee an hour ago because I thought I was going to poop my pants on the airplane.
That is
So,
a fair reason not to get a cup of coffee, though.
Yeah.
I think that that's smart.
I didn't want to stink up the place.
Yeah.
Although the bathroom
Very considerate of you.
weirdly smelled like an Italian restaurant. It was making me really
I
uneasy.
did see the text. Were you seated near the
I was
bathroom?
literally in like the second to last row.
Oh,
so
that
the bathroom
sucks.
was right there. And every time they opened up the door, I don't know, I was getting whiff of like raviolis. And I was like, I don't like that. That's
No.
making me nauseous a little bit.
That's one thing I can't vibe with is sitting by the bathroom.
Yeah.
I have a very sensitive nose.
Yeah. Oh,
Very
also,
sensitive.
when I was really nervous to fly, for obvious reasons. And, I'm sitting there like kind of panicking a little bit. I'm like, okay, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, Amanda. Just calm down. It's going to be okay. And we take off, and I have never experienced that much turbulence at takeoff. So it was like the first full 5 minutes was like so much turbulence. And at one point we dip, and this woman next to me screams so loud that I'm like, oh my God, we're going down.
Have you been on a flight where it's like really, really bad turbulence and there's people like praying out
Yes.
loud and stuff?
Yes.
Like, shut the fuck up. I don't pray, whatever. I'm glad you're doing your part for us. But you are making this so much worse.
Do you know what I had
Stop
to do?
doing Hail Mother Mary's out loud.
Do you know what I had to do during a flight like that?
What?
I had to breathe into the bag because I was hyperventilating
really?
so bad. And my husband was like, it's going to be okay. And I look at him, I'm breathing into the bag and I'm crying.
Do you want to hear? This is so gross. Trigger warning. This is so disgusting.
Oh, no.
One time I was on a flight. It was like an 8-hour flight. And I was a kid. So I was like in junior high or whatever. And I'd never been on a flight that long. And I got so sick, like nauseous. And I went to puke in the bag. And there was already puke in there. So traumatizing.
I wish you did not tell me that just now. What?
It made me so sick, and then somebody else had to give me their bag.
No.
Like somebody was sitting next to me, and then because we were about to land, luckily, and then I was sick because I just kept thinking about it. Because the way my brain works is like I have really bad repetitive thought. Like I can't keep thoughts out of my head, like invasive repetitive thought issues.
Also, anybody would be fucking
But
thinking
I just
about
couldn't
that.
stop thinking about it for like 3 days, and I was so sick. It was a 2-week vacation, and I missed all the fun stuff like the first 3 days because every time I would stand up, I would think about it and make myself nauseous again.
Yeah, I could throw up right now just thinking about that.
Yeah, it was so sickening. So now I refuse to touch those bags. You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Wow, disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, hated that. Thank you so much.
Now I'm an adult, so I just get drunk on airplanes.
That's fair.
Yeah. Get myself a little. I'm not a gin and tonic drinker on a plane. G&T all day long. I don't know why.
You're like, you know what sounds good? Gin and
I
tonic.
don't even drink gin.
I like gin.
And like I like a mixed drink, like a cocktail every once in a while, but I'm not even really like a cocktail girl. I'm more of like a beer and wine girl.
I like gin because I feel like whatever you put with it, it kind of really hides the alcohol taste.
Yeah, especially if you drink good gin. Like shitty gin tastes so bad.
Yeah.
And like people who just straight up like go to the bar and get a shot of warm gin, I'm afraid of you.
Ew.
Like deeply afraid of
That's
you.
disgusting.
Yeah, that's so scary. But if it's like a nice gin chilled in a cocktail, it just adds kind of a little herbaceousness to it.
What's that
Nice.
cocktail, that really famous gin cocktail, like an O.C. Collins or something? Or
A Tom Collins?
Yeah.
Tom Collins, yeah.
It's delicious.
I don't know if I've ever had one.
I've had a couple. They're very good.
Oh, okay.
They're very good.
Yeah, I like a cocktail every once in a while. I'm just like I said, I just like if I get I'll have like 1 or 2 cocktails. Like that's
Yeah.
it. Like if I know I'm like gonna be out, I'm gonna drink beer probably.
I'm going to drink 3 Aperol spritzes and then 2 espresso martinis and then throw up when I get home. Not speaking from experience or anything.
Not speaking from last weekend or anything. Oh, gosh. Well, before we get started,
Yes. What?
I would love to thank some people who bought us some beers.
Oh.
The first one is from Marissa.
Hello, Marissa.
And Marissa says, this may or may not be a bribe to have Cassidy cover the Russian sleep experiment. Either way, love you guys. Enjoy.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
You should do that.
And then another one from Kelly. Kelly bought us some beers and said, hey, it's my birthday today.
Kelly.
Happy birthday, Kelly.
Happy freaking birthday.
And I wanted to share a beer with y'all or something equally as cold and refreshing on this ridiculously hot summer day. Here's to celebrating self-love. Beautiful ladies, cheers.
Aw.
Thank you and happy birthday
Wow.
to the most beautiful lady, Kelly.
That's right.
And we are drinking something cold and refreshing, and
It
it is
is.
hot as fuck.
That is true.
Yeah. All right, should we get started?
We should probably get started.
Let's do this.
All right. All right, lady.
You ready?
Spotlight's on you.
All right. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about some people who have been affected, or I don't even really know the proper term for it, but sudden savant syndrome.
Okay.
All right, so my sources today were Psychology Today, an article by Abigail Fagan, the National Institute of Health, the Science Time, and Wikipedia.
Okay, let's go.
All right, so let's start out with the obvious question in the room here. What is sudden savant syndrome?
What is it?
Well, the way Psychology Today defines it, it's an individual suddenly becomes a savant, demonstrating incredible talent in a specific domain, typically music, art, calendar calculating, mathematical or number skills, or mechanical or spatial skills, as well as astounding memory, for which there appears to be no precedent in their earlier life experience.
Oh, so you just like become really smart or really talented?
Really good at something like music or whatever. Because most savants are born savants. Like, for example, Mozart, right? Came out the womb fucking
You stupid fucker.
writing music and shit. And most people who have a savant are savants. They are 50% of them are autistic, and the other 50%, it's like most of them have some other type of underlying neurodivergent diagnosis.
Okay. Can you become a savant at 32 years old?
Well, that's what we're about to talk about. Yeah.
Okay.
So the first story that I read about was a guy named Orlando L. Searle. And when Orlando was 10 years old, he was of average intelligence, living a very normal life, no real interest in anything specific, out playing baseball with his pals on January 15th, 1979.
His pals.
His pals. He's palling around. So he's standing out by first base when a line drive hit rockets towards him and hits him on the side of the head, immediately knocks him out. Like ice cold. Falls to the ground. The kids all run over. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Da, da, da. He kind of comes up, he's a little embarrassed, so he doesn't make that big of a deal out of it. And he's like, I'll just keep playing. It's fine.
Bro, you have a concussion.
And he finished the game and then went home.
Okay.
So he didn't get any medical treatment for this because he was embarrassed and he was just a kid, he's 10 years old. And it really is embarrassing, especially when you're younger, to like get hurt.
Yeah.
I remember falling down and scraping your knee. You have to pretend like you don't care. I mean, it's the same thing now.
Yeah, I do that more now, I would say.
Yeah, like when I get hurt, I have to be like, no, it's cool. I just almost chopped my finger off. It's fine though. So he probably should have gone to the hospital, but he didn't. But luckily, he recovered pretty well. The only thing was, after the incident, for a couple months, he was burdened with horrible headaches. So he would have sensitivity to light and have a hard time, especially in the morning and afternoons, just really bad headaches and trouble focusing.
Well, you had a concussion, bro.
Yeah. And eventually, luckily for him, these headaches began to subside. And after the headaches stopped completely, he realized that he had a newfound skill that he had never practiced, never thought about before in his life. But now he can you can tell him any date, and he can tell you what day of the week it was.
Ooh, that's kind of fun.
So there's this like whole video of a scientist being, saying, March 15th, 1952. And he'd be like, Tuesday. And he gets it right 100% of the time. Never studied it, never looked at it, just knows it now.
How did he even figure that out?
I know. So that's what he figures out at first, that he can recall what date it is. And for any date that happened after his accident, he can recall every single thing about that day. So he can tell you what the weather is perfectly. He can tell you what he did that day, what he wore that day. He can tell you, oh, that's the day that there was, these people won this Grammy. Oh, that was a Tuesday, and that was the Dr. Dre album came out that day or whatever. He knows everything that happened that day, and he specifically knows the weather. He can tell you the exact temperature highs and lows of that day, and he has been correct 100% of the time after he was tested by the National Institute of Health.
Well, I want him on my trivia team.
Right?
That's for sure.
Yeah. So obviously they think, okay, he gets hit in the head with a baseball. That can alter the way his memory works. He has like this extreme memory. But the thing that these doctors and scientists find the most interesting is that he knows all this information for dates before the date of his accident.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, oh, you have a memory, but
you never remembered it.
Yeah, this is for stuff that you weren't even alive for.
Yeah, it was before you were born. And you never looked at a calendar and we're like, okay, March 15th, that's Tuesday. That's Tuesday. You know what I mean? So he just knows. It's just like, sorry, I stabbed you with my nails. He just knows.
Yeah, and like, I want to know how he figured that out. Like how one of his friends was just like, gee, I wonder what day of the week September 17th, 1942 was.
I would guess, when you're in school, you learn history. This is my guess. And they'd be like, oh, we stormed Normandy on this day in the 40s. And he'd be like, oh, that was a Wednesday. And everyone's like, what?
Yeah, that's weird.
You know what I mean? It just seems like something you would say. Or maybe a parent would say, oh, do you remember when you did this? And he'd be like, oh, yeah, it was a Tuesday. And it was 60 degrees out. And his parents are like, what the fuck? Sir? So, like I said, he has been tested by the National Institute of Health and like tons of different panels. And he has never once gotten a single thing wrong, from the weather to what day a date is.
What a weird thing to have in your back pocket.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's just a janitor at Walmart. That's what he does for his job.
With that kind of knowledge, bruh?
What are you going to do? How are you going to monetize that?
Professional trivia.
This is, keep in mind, this man was born in 1969.
Oh.
So this is pre-internet that all this is happening.
That's true. I guess there's no trivia.
Because now you would just be a fucking TikTok star.
Absolutely.
When did trivia start?
I think it was a Tuesday.
Nailed it. So yeah, that was the first story I heard about. I couldn't believe it. I was like, that is so crazy. Because how can you just unlock this knowledge in your head?
No, that is crazy.
And the next person that I read about was a woman named And so, that person, he was really young. He was 10 years old. And the next person I read about was a grown adult when her incident happened. So her name is Diana de Avila. And Diana was living in Florida in 2017, and she had just gotten out of the hospital for a bout of vertigo.
Okay.
So she had sustained a brain injury while she was in the U.S. military in 1984. Sorry, burping. 1984, when she was 19 years old. And so she had some lingering effects from that brain injury. And then she also was diagnosed in the 2000s with MS. So that kind of combination of things, sometimes she would have these bouts of vertigo, and she had issues with vascular things in her eyes. And so she had just gotten out of the hospital for that. And she was having some cognitive decline issues because of the MS and the traumatic brain injury. But like I said, it was years and years before. So after she gets home from the hospital, she goes to lay down on a floaty in her backyard pool, because she's thinking, I'm going to take it easy. I don't want to get another bout of vertigo. That shit does not feel good, I'm sure. So she's laying in the pool, and suddenly she is hit with visions in front of her eyes that are various shapes and colors, right in front of her. She can see them in front of her. She was suddenly someone who had synesthesia, which is a rare condition where people can see things like music or certain colors elicit visual shapes. And it's basically when a pathway in your brain collides with another sense. So now suddenly you are seeing smells as colors, or hearing music and seeing shapes or seeing colors.
Okay.
Which I actually dated someone with this, and it was really, really crazy. They could see music, like physically see music. And so their relationship to music was really unique. It was very strange. Yeah.
That is really weird.
Yeah.
But what does that do?
What do you mean?
Like, does that make you better at music?
So she was seeing colors and shapes moving in front of her, and she said it felt like she was struck with a bolt of lightning of creativity. And she was somebody who had never painted, drawn, or done anything before. She got out of the pool and immediately started painting.
Oh.
So she begins painting, and she's really fucking good. And for the next couple months, she's doing like 5 to 6 paintings a day. Like she's just like, you know, getting these
Busting
things
it
out.
out.
Yeah. And she's very, very good. So if you want to go into the email.
Yes. The email with subject line, Amanda, do not open.
Yes. So, and click the link that's in the first email because there's 2 emails in there. So it'll be a picture of her. And then if you scroll down, you'll be able to see some of her artwork. Now she is a full-time professional artist. She does all sorts of stuff. A lot of it is abstract. She's really into like shapes and stuff, but she also can do portraits and does really amazing portraits and is just crazy talented. And this just happened to her one day. She had never painted or done anything. And she even said in interviews, she's like, I feel like a fraud because people ask me for tips on how to learn how to paint, how to teach yourself how to draw. She's like, I don't know. I just one day was in the pool and suddenly could do this.
That's crazy. That is a really nice drawing.
Yeah. And she's even more rare because men are more likely to have synesthesia and they're also more likely to have savantism.
Oh, wow.
Like 6 times more likely.
Well,
so she's
good
very rare.
for you, girl.
Yeah. And now she's a full-time artist.
And now you're an artist.
Mm-hmm.
You had no talent.
Talentless hack.
And
No, I'm just
now
kidding.
you're an artist. I need to get some of that. Someone hit me in the head.
Well, so after this was also part of her story, which I thought was really interesting. After she went to the hospital, so she was in a motorcycle accident when she was in the Army. That's how she got her TBI.
Oh, okay.
And she also, I mean, she was in the hospital for like months because it was a really bad accident. And she said that she prayed to God during that time and said, if you let me keep my legs, I just want to keep my legs. Please let me keep my legs. And if you do, I will give my life to you. And she kept her legs. And then she became a nun for 10 years afterwards because she was like, I owe God. I don't know. He let me keep my legs.
Oh, shit.
So she literally joined a convent and became a nun for 10 years. And then when she was like, okay, I've like served my time.
She's like, enough is enough.
She went and got her master's in education.
Oh, my gosh.
So she's already just like super fucking smart.
Yeah.
But she worked towards all of this, right? And then so one day she's like, oh, all of a sudden now I'm an artist who does all this abstract thinking and I have synesthesia.
Must be nice.
Fucking crazy, right?
That is crazy.
Yeah. And that brings us to Derek Amato. This is my personal favorite one because Derek just seems like, I don't know, he seems like someone that we'd be friends with.
All right, let's hear about Derek.
So in October of 2006, it's October 27th, right before Halloween.
That's when I got married.
Oh yeah, that's your anniversary.
Yeah.
Derek is over at his friend Bill's house and they're all hanging out in the backyard pool. So they're kind of, roughhousing and they're throwing around this Nerf football. And Derek's friend Bill is like, go long, and throws the football to Derek. And Derek jumps into the air to catch it in the pool. And he is in too shallow of water and he bangs his head on the bottom of the pool.
No.
So when his friends get him out of the pool, he said the last thing that he remembers is they were all talking to him, but he had lost his ability to hear. He was deaf. So clearly he hit his head very, very hard. He passes out. They take him to the hospital. They're like, yeah, of course, like you have a concussion, but there's no bleeding in your brain and there's no, fracture in your skull. So we're just going to send you home. And when they send him home, and he literally said that he got home and slept for 5 days straight. Just like basically like a lone coma.
Yeah, that would scare the shit out of me though.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to sleep if you have a concussion.
Yeah, 5 days straight. He said he barely woke up just like to go to the bathroom. But when he woke up on the 6th day, he was like, oh, okay, I feel fine.
Could he hear?
Yeah, you could hear and everything.
Okay.
He's totally fine. He was like, okay, back to normal. So a couple days after that, Another one of his friends, Rick, says, "Hey man, heard about your accident. How are you feeling?" He's like, "Oh, I feel totally fine now." He says, "Cool. Why don't you come over? Some friends are hanging out tonight. We're going to drink some beers and chill." Right on. I'll come over. Shows up at the house. So his friends are there. His friend Rick gives him a beer. And because there are multiple people over, he ends up sitting on like the bench of the piano that his friend owns.
I had a weird feeling he was going to be a pianist.
Yeah. So he's like sitting on the bench, looking at everyone, drinking the beer. And he said he looked over at the keys of the piano and suddenly he could see in his mind keys. And they were writing, they were like composing.
Yeah, they were like moving in a way that he needed to play.
Yeah. And to quote him directly, he said, "My first thought was, Rick put acid in my beer." And then I thought, what is happening right now? And is this going to stay?
Sneaky acid.
Yeah. He turned around, looked at the keyboard and said, quote, "I sat down at the keyboard and all of a sudden my hands were flying around." And he was like this crazy,
wow,
perfect keyboard player. So he did know a little bit about music. He had growing up, he had played drums, but that's very different than playing piano, obviously. And once again, to quote him, which you're going to love this, he said, "My mom is my best friend, so I didn't need to say anything. She cried when I showed her and said, 'What's happening?' And I said, 'I don't know.'" Apparently, because nobody even owned a keyboard or anything.
Yeah.
He took her to a music store and was like, "Mom, I know it sounds crazy.
He's like, "I got to show you this.
But watch this." And she just started crying and goes, "What's happening?"
That would be like if I was like, "Mom, watch me do this." I can't even think of a word because I'm so stupid.
Pythagorean theorem.
How did you know that's what I was trying to say?
Because I just knew.
Could not think of how to say that word. Clearly, we know that I'm not some genius here.
So one of his fears was that this newfound talent that he had would just disappear.
Yeah, of course.
Because he's like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Because what if you're like, I'm going to be Beethoven, and then it goes away?
And then it's gone, which has happened to people.
Yeah.
Where they have this amazing talent and it just goes away. But luckily for him, he is now a professional touring musician, and he also mentors young piano players and artists.
Derek.
Yeah.
You go, boy.
Yeah. Totally changed his life.
Wow.
Yeah. The piano one seems like it's kind of the instrument that hits the most often.
I would assume. I don't know why.
It feels mathematical to me. And a lot of the other stuff is very math-based.
Yeah.
You
know? So this other dude, Anthony Cisoria, he became a classical music savant at 42 after having been struck by lightning. Got struck by lightning.
I'm just saying, if something crazy like that's going to happen to you, you better fucking develop some talent.
Okay. That's all I could think about when I was researching this and reading all these stories, because this is extremely rare. Like there's like 300 cases total.
Wow.
Right now of active. Obviously, there's probably more because there's people in countries that are not reporting, or places where they don't, or people who don't even think to report it. But reported cases, there's like 300. So even let's say that's half. That's 600.
Yeah.
It's not very many. This is extremely rare. And all I could think was, damn, there are so many people who get into accidents or have traumatic things happen and just ruins their life.
Yeah, nothing good comes from it.
Yeah. I mean, you think about those people who have like traumatic brain injuries or tumors or whatever, and it makes them just like the biggest piece of shit ever. Mm-hmm. And you're like, damn, couldn't I have gotten that piano gene instead?
Anything.
Come on, brother. I'll even take the date thing.
I was just going to say, I'll take the weird guessing of the dates. I'll take any of it.
Yeah. And the craziest part about all this is they say it's just there. Like when you ask him questions, you know, like I said, like March 12th, 1964, he immediately is like, Tuesday. He doesn't even have to search for it in his head. It's just there.
You know, it would be a fun one. Always being able to tell whether it's Pepsi or Coke. Like that'd be a fun party trick.
You could piss some people off in the South.
Yeah. Like 100% of the time, you get
it right. But it can really be anything, and memory seems to be a really big part of it. So I'm going to tell you about a guy who didn't realize he had this until he was like later in life. This guy, George Logothetis of London. He had bacterial meningitis, which spinal meningitis, bacterial meningitis are like my biggest fears ever. I think about them every time I have a crick in my neck. I'm like, uh-oh, here it is.
Is that a thing?
They got me. You get like a sore neck. Yeah.
Why did damn, you shouldn't have told me that.
You asked me.
I know, but now like I'm gonna every time I get a kink in my neck, I'm gonna be scared now.
So he gets bacterial meningitis as a kid, which left him in a coma for 5 days. And everyone thought he was going to die. He had super high fever, right? Gives you like 105-degree fever, which fucks with your brain chemistry and all this shit. But he like perfectly heals. Totally fine. His dad owns an international shipping business, and he starts to work with his dad when he's a teenager on this shipping business. And they're dealing with huge sums of money, tons of boats, like all sorts of different cargo, whatever. And he can remember every single number, every quantity, every measurement, every price of everything that they ship like that, top of his head.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. So to quote him, he can easily, you can tell him, hey, what happened with the East Cape shipping? And he would say, oh, the East Cape, that's a ship we delivered in 1993. It was 482,000 cubic feet. It was built in 1975, and we leased it for $416,000 a month. It does not require effort to retrieve this. It's just there.
I feel like my brother can do that though.
Oh, really?
I don't know. He like pulls a weird random shit out of his asshole.
That's my dad. My dad knows every single college and high school mascot in the entire United States.
That sounds like a Savant syndrome case.
Listen, I'm not trying to diagnose anybody, but autism is genetic. Me.
I mean, that's a fun one.
Yeah. Like I said, 50% of people who have Savant syndrome, where they're born with it, which that's how most people have Savant syndrome. And it's not even really a syndrome. It's just like a thing. 50% of them are autistic. The other 50%, 90% of that 50% have a neurodivergent brain. They're not neurotypical. So this guy, he ends up working with his dad. He's such a fucking G with these numbers. He becomes CEO of this company at the age of 19.
Oh my God.
And then he ends up owning several other successful shipping businesses and companies, becomes a multimillionaire. And so every 5 years or so, he just takes a sabbatical and stops working so that he can invest his time into some new hobby that he wants to do.
Wow.
And in 2013, he decides to do this, and he decides that the hobby he's going to get interested in is psychology. And that is how he found out about Dr. Daryl Treffert, who has been working with savants and sudden savants for decades, including our friends Diana and Derek from earlier in the episode.
Oh.
So George finds out about this guy, is reading all of his research, finds out about Diana and Derek and sudden savantism, and starts reading about these kids who have traumatic brain injuries. And he realizes, oh my gosh, I think this is me. Because to quote him, this is his own quote to Psychology Today. He said, "No one ever said to me, George, it's not normal to know this. I was so much more tolerant after speaking to Dr. Treffert. My attitude became, if you don't know the numbers, that's fine. Just bring your file with you." Because he said he struggled so much with people because he just thought they were lazy. Because he's going, this is so easy.
Yeah.
Doesn't everybody's brain work like this? And literally nobody ever told him, like, no, you are special.
Yeah.
You are different. That is not normal. And so he would get so frustrated with people. And he said after he figured out this diagnosis and he kind of put two and two together with the childhood trauma and this weird savantism he had, it actually made his like personality, his relationships and everything easier because he was able to understand that there was something that made him act like that.
Yeah.
Which I get, like a lot of people who are diagnosed later in life with like autism or ADHD or things like that, it does make it easier because you realize you're not sitting around as someone who's done this. You're not sitting around crying like, why am I like this?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I be like everybody else? Like it does help to have a name on it.
Yeah.
And to recognize where it comes from. Yeah. So like I said earlier, there are just over 300 documented sudden savants alive today. And also, like I said earlier, I'm sure this number is way higher, but even if it is doubled, that's still extremely, extremely rare. And I read a journal published by Dr. Daryl Treffert in the Wisconsin Medical Journal. And this was in 2021, he was actually studying 11 people who had spontaneous savantism with no inciting incidents and no underlying neurodivergence.
Oh. And is it like come and go type of thing, or
No. I mean, there was one guy, so he studied 11 different people who had this savantism, and one guy had it spontaneously for like 6 months and then it went away.
Ugh, that would suck.
And his was, he was able to speak fluent German.
That would suck.
Yeah.
I'd be like, come on.
And he had been living in Germany for like 2 years and he was trying to learn German. And one day he just could speak it fluently and could understand people speaking it to him. And then it went away.
See,
and he was like, I love Germany so much. I just want to live in Germany so bad. And it went away.
I was kind of waiting for you to say the language thing because I felt like that would have been a big one. Like all of a sudden you can speak a language.
That was the only one I read about, but I'm sure. Like,
doesn't
language,
that seem like that would be something?
I actually don't know because a lot of the other stuff seems more math based.
Ugh.
Even painting and stuff, they're so technical and precise suddenly.
Yeah.
They can like do everything perfectly with their hands. Like, for example, one lady, these people didn't have their names because it was a clinical study, so they just were using fake names for them. But she woke up in the middle of the night in her 40s with the desire to draw. She'd never drawn ever in her entire life. And the first thing she draws is a self-portrait, which is incredible with pencil work. And then the second thing she draws is this other amazing picture, which is the second thing that's in the email if you want to pull it up. So she draws a self-portrait the night that she wakes up having this desire to draw, which she's never drawn before. So she picks up a pencil because that's what they have in their house. She draws this incredible self-portrait. And then she draws a very creative thing called the Mayan as her second piece of work, or maybe it was her third, but within a couple days. And now she's this incredible artist and she still has this.
That's a really good self-portrait too.
Right? Like imagine never having drawn in your entire life. And we'll have this on the Instagram, so check it out, or because this is in like a medical paper I took screenshots of, so you probably couldn't find it. So we'll have it on the Instagram and also it'll be on the YouTube, obviously. But imagine just waking up, never having drawn, no skill, and just doing a self-portrait like that.
No, I wish.
But isn't that insane? It would probably also be kind of scary.
Yeah, I guess if you're just like, why is this happening right now?
Yeah. So the real question is, because obviously with people who have sudden savant syndrome from trauma or brain trauma, there's kind of this explanation of the brain is trying to heal itself and it unlocks these weird neural pathways that weren't unlocked before, or it starts reorganizing itself in a unique way that accidentally makes you really good at this stuff, basically. But what about these people who didn't have any inciting trauma, or people who are just born with this? Are all minds capable of savantism, but we just don't know how to unlock it?
No.
No. Okay. Well, another one solved by Amanda Goodness and co.
I mean, I don't think anyone could do it.
I mean, why not? If these people could just hit their head and then suddenly have all of this, why
Well,
couldn't
now-
you hit your head and be like this?
I'm going to be banging my head around the fucking house now, trying to figure out what I can do.
They did do a study where they stimulated with like electrodes or whatever people's brains, different parts of it, to see if they could improve certain functions. And they did find one section of the brain that if they stimulated it with electrodes, people were better at drawing. But that was just one study with one group of people, whatever.
When I was like 6, my brother hit me in the head with a wooden baseball bat.
Oh, nice. My brother dropped a 10-pound weight on my head.
Yeah, and cracked
That's
your
why-
tooth.
Yeah, I found
Yeah.
your tooth is fake.
So what did we get from that?
Trauma.
I don't think anything happened to me.
All I got was mental illness. You guys are getting savantism? What the fuck's that about?
Wow, that's rude.
Yeah. But so it just shows how little we really know about the human brain, because like, why are these things happening? We really can't explain them. Even the people who did have trauma, they're all different types of trauma. Like one dude got hit by lightning,
Yeah, that's crazy.
and another woman had degenerative brain disorder because of a TBI when she was 18, and it didn't kick in until she was like in her 50s.
What if I was really smart before my brother hit me in the head with the baseball bat?
Oh, you had like reverse
yeah.
savantism?
Like what if I was a genius? And then
You were a baby genius.
and then he did that and
And now look at you.
And then I became stupid.
You just need one more good hit to the head.
If you had to pick anything that you would be a savant in.
I wish I was artistically inclined.
Yes, me too.
Like, I really, really do. And that's something like, and I've tried. I was like, I took all the art classes growing up. I watched all the YouTube videos. You know, people would say, oh, you just got to start and you draw and look at my first drawing and then my drawing 3 years later. It's like this perfect. I did that. My drawings never got better.
And you did. You tried to paint and stuff.
My paintings were fine.
Yeah, they were cute.
If I was like actively looking at a plant or something, I could kind of paint it where you'd be like, huh, that's good for someone who's never painted before. But the problem is I didn't get any better. And I spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours doing it. And so I still like to paint sometimes, but I just know I'm never going to be good at it. But I also can't see stuff in my head.
That's true.
So I think that makes it harder. And that's why all my best stuff is stuff that I was literally looking at right in front of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not creative in that way. I'm super creative in other ways. I'm a very creative person, but I cannot, like painting and drawing, I just have no skill with it.
I wish I could.
And my boyfriend, yesterday we were just sitting out by the pool enjoying a Sunday off, and he just was drawing all these amazing things in his little notebook and being like, oh, I fucked this one up. I'm like,
he is a really good
you're just sitting there with
artist.
a beer in your hand and you can just do that. And you've just been able to do that like your whole life. He's like, yeah, okay.
He's a savant.
He is. He really is.
Wow.
Yeah. How about you?
I definitely would like to draw. That would be really fun. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I really care that much about math.
I just feel like math is the one that you could actually like monetize the easiest.
Yeah, that's true.
So that would be nice.
Like maybe I could be...
It would also just make, like, life is so, doing math in your head is so hard.
Maybe I could be like a bank teller.
Yeah. I just even imagine giving change at your restaurant, how easy it would be. You know what I mean?
I have to whip my phone out for everything.
Yeah. So imagine if it just like, you didn't even have to think hard. It just was there.
Ooh, maybe I could be a savant in just knowing directions to everywhere.
Like me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a savant, obviously, but that's my secret talent.
Because I never know where I'm going.
I can get anywhere without maps. I don't need maps at all.
I can't even go down the road.
If I know like a general idea of where some places, I can get there even without maps. And if I've been there once, I can get there forever.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I just grew up in.
Maybe it's because you got hit in the face with a 10-pound weight.
Then maybe that was mine.
I'm just saying. You never know.
It is really helpful because when your phone dies and you don't know where you're going, it's nice to. I don't think I've ever been lost.
One time I was driving home from like LA and my phone died and is a problem.
It's just so easy.
I cried. And then I had to go into the gas station and buy a charger.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can't get home.
No, I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever been lost once in my life.
You're a savant.
You have perfect pitch. And
no, I don't. I do not.
Me and your husband disagree. And I can get on trains real good.
Wow, we're so good.
We're so
talented and
glad
amazing.
we're using these things to have a podcast about neither trains nor singing. Well, yeah, so that is, those are a few cases of sudden savant syndrome. And I just thought it was really interesting. And I don't know, just like the world is so full of magic. That's how I felt.
It is full of magic.
When I was researching it, all I could think was, it is so insane. Out of all these traumatic and upsetting incidents, every once in a while, something really fucking cool and awesome comes out of it. Like, that's so cool.
It is cool. And I think it's just cool. It's one of those things where it's like the brain is fucking insane.
We really don't understand anything about the brain. And that is why it's so confusing to me when people, even when we were talking about DID like a couple weeks ago, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
All I can go off of is like this, right? The brain is so freaking crazy.
It is.
It's hard to comprehend.
It's hard to even talk about because we don't know.
Well, even when we talk about, and I know this is a little off topic, but when we talk about people who are like born just like serial killers,
right?
Like, why do you have those urges and I don't? Or, you know, like, why do you have a weird mental block about eating fish? There's just all these weird things. Like, why?
I'm weird.
It's not like somebody slapped you in the face with a tuna when you were a kid or something, you know? Like, but why is that? Some people have adventurous palates. Some people don't. It's just, nothing means anything, everyone. Just go be kind to each other.
Beautiful words from Cassidy J. Liston.
But so that doctor, the one who I quoted earlier, he knew he was going to die. He was an older fellow, but he didn't want to. He had been working with, as he called them, an island of geniuses for, like I said, decades. And before he passed, he knew he needed to like pass the torch on to someone else. So there's this other doctor or psychologist, Dr. Chapman, and they built what they called basically Dr. Xavier's school for gifted young people. Yeah. And they filled this camp kind of with every type of musical instrument you can think of, every type of math instrumentation that you could be interested in, basically everything that you could be interested in. And if you feel like this happens to your kid and they suddenly have, or they're born a savant and they have this really weird thing, but you can't afford a piano, you can bring them there and they can show off their skills, learn their skills,
pick up something and be like,
well, that was one of the things he said. He's like, just because your kid shows skills at a piano, because that's what you have in the house, how do you know if you give him a bassoon, he won't be going fucking wild on that thing?
And he's the next bassooning it up.
Yeah, he's the next bassoon savant, you know? And so that was one of his big beliefs is, you know, if you keep people down, there's people who have availability to different things. He said, I want to give availability to everybody, because you don't know if you could be a piano savant, but if you live somewhere you've never seen a piano in your life because you're in poverty or you're in an area where people don't have pianos or whatever, you might not know.
It's true.
So he's trying to give access to
I love that.
all of that. Yeah. So that is sudden savant syndrome.
That was a very inspirational one.
It made me feel good.
Yeah, I like that.
And I think there's like a lot of negative talk about people, especially because savantism is something that, like I said, most people who have savantism are born with it. They're neurodivergent. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of like stigma about it. And I just think, I don't know. I think it's cool that sometimes brains just work like that. And we need people who have brains that are different than ours. Otherwise, God, life would be so boring.
It's so true.
Yeah.
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 Well, good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So today, in honor of my cousins being in Italy this week.
Ooh.
I know, me too. My cousin Jen, who actually just joined Patreon.
Oh, that was her. Okay.
I wanted to cover a story in Italy so I could pretend I'm there sipping on an Aperol Spritz.
Yeah, as you should.
As I should. Even though it's not very, it's not really a beautiful location that you want to just be sipping on an Aperol Spritz.
Italy?
No, the place I'm telling you about.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck? Yes, it is. I was like, you take that back.
No, the specific place that I'm going to talk about is the Capuchin Catacombs of Palermo.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So my sources were...
You know, I'm obsessed with tunnels.
And catacombs.
I'm very obsessed with tunnels.
I mean, you did the Paris catacombs.
Episode like 11.
It was like really early on.
Yeah.
So my sources were BND... I don't know how to say this. bndolcevita.com by Eugenio Rusinugolo. allthat'sinteresting.com by Adam Farley. Owlcation.com by Jason Ponick. Ancient Origins. wondersofsicily.com and palermocatacombs.com. Sorry,
It's so hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
All right. So let's begin by going back to a year that hurts my brain.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm so ready.
1534.
Okay. That's before 1901, if anyone was wondering.
A little painful to think about. So this is when the Capuchin monks of Palermo built their first monastery in Sicily near the church of Santa Maria della, or the Lady of Peace.
Okay.
So to use as a burial site for their fallen brothers, the monks, they dug a small tomb out from underneath the altar of St. Anne, and they would wrap the monks in sheets and lower them down into this burial chamber, which was basically a shallow mass grave.
Okay.
And just place all their brothers there.
All right.
It's
all right, brother.
1537. Okay? That year doesn't even exist.
Did you know
Tell me.
A lot of archaeologists believe that we did not, like Homo sapiens, did not come up with burying our dead. We actually learned it from Neanderthals. It was
Really?
a practice that they took part in of burying their dead and honoring their dead. And before that, Homo sapiens, humans would just leave their dead behind when they would walk away.
Leave them where?
It's on the ground.
Just there.
Yeah, they didn't do like burials for them.
Yeah, dang.
So
Just dead bodies.
wasn't in our nature for a
everywhere.
long time. A lot less people back then.
That's true,
And a
that's
lot
true.
more open space. Sorry, my eye,
I know, I see it.
you can see it happening.
Yeah, I can.
It like literally pulls my whole eye like this.
Yeah.
I have a muscle in my eye that has been twitching recently. It's so annoying. And whenever I don't get enough sleep, it decides to do that. And I hate it. And it doesn't feel good.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's okay. But so if you see me, if you're watching on YouTube and you see me just touching my eye, it's that.
So as the years went on, the amount of Capuchin monks started to grow more and more, which means more people are dying and filling up this grave. And soon it got way too full, and the monks are like, shit, we can't fit any more dead monks in this hole. What are we going to do?
Our dead monk hole is full.
That's verbatim what they said.
Yeah.
So they realized that there were these caves, like these old caves behind the main altar. And they're like, oh my gosh, this would be the perfect place to throw our dead bodies.
We got to bring back caves. We got to bring back tunnels
We
and
do.
caves.
We do got to bring back caves.
Imagine how cool it is down there right now.
So cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
If we're going to destroy the climate and make it so hot, we got to bring back caves.
Yeah, we got to sleep in the caves, live in the caves.
Caves, tunnels,
Yes.
anywhere like that,
Yeah.
really.
So the monks begin this excavation process for these caves because they're like, this has got to be where we put our brothers.
Yeah.
2 years later, this new underground burial site for the Capuchin monks was ready. But when they went down there to transfer some of the bodies of their brothers from, like, they put them in the caves and then, like, had people work on kind of hollowing out the rest of them. So they go down there and they're, like, going to put the dead bodies into different rooms.
Okay.
They came across something that they were not expecting.
Ooh, love that.
45 bodies of monks that had been down there had not decomposed at all and were perfectly mummified.
That's like a thing, too. Like we were talked about this with the Saint of Arc.
Yes.
Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
Saint Joan of Arc? She's a saint,
Joan
right?
of Arc, yeah.
How, like, to be a saint or, like, deified or whatever, you have to not decompose.
Yeah. And they're monks, so
There they are.
there they are. So needless to say, it was a complete shock, you know, to still be able to see these people that they put down there years before, be able to recognize them fully. They had their skin, their hair, their teeth, like their whole facial features were there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it turned out that down in those caves, the atmosphere was so dry that it allowed for this natural mummification to just happen to the bodies.
Yeah, that's like how things on Antarctica don't decompose because it's the
so
driest.
cold.
It's the driest place on Earth.
Yeah.
It's the world's largest desert is Antarctica.
Antarctica is? I thought it was really snowy there.
Yeah, but it's a desert. Desert is about how much rain you get per year. So that's a fun one for trivia, everyone.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
World's largest desert is Antarctica.
So naturally, the monks, you know, they see this and they figured this is a miracle of God. Because, like, how could
Yeah,
this
of course.
happen?
That's what I was saying, like about the saints and stuff.
Yeah. And therefore, they're like, well, we need to take advantage of this. Like, this is crazy. God is giving us this, like, amazing thing, and we have to keep going with it. So they decided that they would put the bodies in these chambers and put them on display so that all the other monks could go and, like, see their friends that were dead and pray with them and sit there with them and talk to them, like, as if they're still there because they look
Okay.
the same.
Alrighty.
The first monk to be put down there and on display was Brother Silvestro da Gubbio, and he was said to be a particularly holy monk. I don't know what made him holier than the others, but that's just what they say. So preserving his body and basically turning him into this, like, mummy was something that attracted a lot of people to Palermo, specifically this guy. I don't know. He was holier than everyone.
Got it.
So Brother Silvestro was placed upright in the chamber, placed in a plain brown robe with a headdress and a shield that stated his date of death, October 16th, 1599.
All right. Long time ago.
Long time ago. And I believe that he is the first mummy that you see today when you like walk down to the catacombs. He's like right there.
Does he still have his hair?
He's a little like more deteriorated than some other people. Kind of a little creepy looking.
Okay.
So as time went on, the monks learned an even better way to preserve the bodies and basically learned how to do like an entire embalming process.
Okay.
So obviously, like I said, the catacombs were extremely dry, which is why they didn't really have to do anything for the first, couple of people to stay mummified. But soon they decided that they could dehydrate the bodies even more and preserve them even better. So immediately after death, the bodies were kept in a room called Kolotoio, which was a special preparation room. And this is where they would remove the organs from the body and replace them with either straw or bay leaves, which was to further dry out the bodies.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they would even like put more straw in them just to kind of hold them in a shape, like a human shape.
Yeah, fluff them up a little.
Yeah. It's like a Build-A-Bear.
Exactly.
Then they were laid on their backs facing up and put on clay shelves. And this is where the bodies would lay for exactly 1 year to let the liquid completely drain from them. Which is, I always forget that like people excrete liquid when they die and it really grosses. Secrete. Secrete. I'm not a savant. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I think the embalming process is really gross.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, I would never want to be embalmed. I think it's weird when people do it.
It's just, ugh.
It's so gross.
And like to do that, I know that like people want to do that for their job, but I don't understand.
We have some listeners who do that.
I know. I think we have. I know we have a taxidermist too, don't we?
Yeah, we have a couple. Yeah.
Good on you. Couldn't be me. So at the end of that 1 year where they would lay the bodies to let all the liquid come out, the bodies were then washed with vinegar and then dressed in like whatever outfit was chosen for them and displayed along the walls of the catacombs.
Okay.
But of course, first this is only monks, right?
Yeah.
This is just a monk burial site. But the locals get wind of this mummy chamber thing happening underground. And they're like, wait a second. Why should only monks get to be mummified after death and go down there and be able to like hang out and talk to their loved ones when they die? We want to do this too.
Okay.
And not only just people local to Italy, but soon all people throughout Europe wanted to be a part of this as well. So in 1783, the monks decided that anyone who was rich and could afford the mummification process and also afford like a place in the crypt was allowed to do so. And because this process was so expensive, this was basically only for extremely wealthy people, government officials, royal families, and celebrities.
Got it. Okay.
Which I was trying so hard to find out how much it cost, but I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
But obviously a lot. So there were about 7 different sections spread throughout the underground crypts, and that was where the people were placed based on like who they were. So there was a section for men, a section for women, one for the monks, one for priests, one for professionals. And then, of course, there was a section for children. And you gotta have a section for virgins.
You gotta.
Which, I don't know how you would know.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Like, your family member puts you down, she was a virgin.
Yeah.
Who can't drive.
Well, yeah, it's like, look at these fucking losers. They never got laid once.
Loser too. No, I'm just kidding. We love you, virgins.
Hey, I was virgin for a very long time. So was Amanda.
That's true, actually.
We were
older.
We were old virgins.
We were older. Yeah, that's true. So in the 1800s, the catacombs was running based on donations of the relatives of these like deceased mummified bodies.
Okay.
So the family members would need to continuously give like a generous donation in order to keep their loved one in like good condition, basically. Yeah. So if you
taken care of.
Yeah. So if you stopped giving your donations, I'm assuming it was like a monthly or yearly subscription. I don't really know.
The original subscription service.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Monks for your dead grandma.
So if you stopped doing that, the bodies would be moved into different areas, mostly like in corners or on shelves that were not visible easily.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, you're not going to pay me? Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, body.
The church doing that? No.
It's crazy.
Never.
But if you did continue giving your donations, your loved one was definitely taken care of, probably better than everyone else.
Wow.
Sometimes they would even change their clothes based on like the relative's specification. I can't talk.
Yeah. You're having a hard time.
Specification. Like I know the word. So they'd be like, oh, I bought my loved one this outfit. I want you to change them. And then they would change them into that.
Interesting. Okay.
And you could also pose your loved one.
All right.
This is a real place.
No, I know it
crazy?
is. I know. Yeah.
So some people were pinned up on the wall. I'm assuming like this would also be based on how much money you give. Like maybe if you don't have that
This
much
is more work.
Yeah, like you're pinned up to the wall and you're kind of not really moved. Mostly from what I read, there was a lot of children that were known to be posed. Like there's a couple children that were posed kind of like playing games or talking to each other.
It's like that guy who had at his funeral, he was like a teenager and they posed him like playing Xbox.
I didn't know that.
Oh, like recently.
Recently?
Yeah, this was like last year.
Are you about to show me a photo?
Yes, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess so. Oh my God. You're joking.
I'm not joking.
That guy's dead?
Yes, I think. Yeah.
No.
They seem to put sunglasses on them usually. This guy just had regular glasses
It's like
on, though.
Weekend at Bernie's or whatever, right? Isn't that movie?
Yes. I mean, it's exactly what you're talking about.
No,
so
I
don't
know, but
what you want from me.
these people were born so long ago. It's different. There is a really well-known one in the catacombs that is like of children sitting in rocking chairs, like holding hands with each other.
Sickening.
It is sickening.
That's worse.
No, it's bad. It's not good. There's also there's one of like a family of people that I don't know, maybe they died from like
The plague.
or something, yeah, together. And I think that they were put together kind of like posed holding each other. So it's like a mom and her kids.
Okay.
So when the catacombs were open to having like anyone put their loved one down there, they also figured out another way of preserving bodies. So, like I said, you could be naturally mummified by the way I described before, or you could be embalmed with chemicals. I'm going to say this word, arsene?
Arsenic?
Is that arsenic? Arsene.
Oh, no, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. But arsine and mercury were two of the things that they used often. Everyone in the comments is going to be like, you're an idiot. But it's fine.
We already discussed that earlier. Okay.
So one man that was embalmed with those chemicals is a 6'2" man named Antonio Prestigiacomo.
That's tall for back then.
Exactly. So he has been up on this wall in the catacombs since 1844. And because of his height, which was not common for men to be over 6 foot, he was known to be a womanizer and a gigolo because women love tall men.
Oh my gosh, I watched a woman hit on my boyfriend this weekend and literally all she said was, "You're tall. Are you single?"
That's all you need sometimes, baby.
He was like, "My wife's standing right behind you." No, we're not secretly married. That's just
everyone in the comments. So rumor has it that this man actually died in a duel with a jealous husband because I'm sure he was sleeping with his wife or something.
Okay.
But Antonio had always wished to be placed in the catacombs and placed standing up on the wall so he could continue to look over women even in the afterlife. And this is good old Antonio.
Oh, Antonio, you dog.
You dog.
Look
You
at that
dirty
fit
dog.
check. He's wearing like a robe.
He is wearing a robe, yes. That's another thing about the catacombs, too. It's like everyone is kind of in outfits based on, you know, the years that they were living or the years that they were born. So it's interesting to see.
As we know, fashion trends change.
They do. I would be in cheetah print. So in 1880, the catacombs were pretty much full, and they stopped accepting bodies. And then in 1881, mummification was actually forbidden.
Oh, okay.
So they were like, no more doing this to people. However, if you're rich enough, you can do whatever you want.
You can get anything done, honey.
You can literally do whatever you want. So there were 2 people in the 1900s that were able to kind of like slip in there and get embalmed and be down there. In 1911, Vice Consul of the United States, Giovanni Paterniti, was brought down to the chambers and mummified. And still to this day, he is down there with his big ass like handlebar mustache. And then in 1920, someone who soon became the most famous mummy in the entire world was brought down there.
Okay.
So Rosalia Lombardo was born on December 13th, 1918 to Mario Lombardo and Maria de Cara. And not even 2 years later, on December 6th, 1920, Rosalia dies from pneumonia.
Okay. She's a baby.
She's not even, literally, it was 5 days before her 2nd birthday.
Okay.
So her parents, naturally, are fucking heartbroken and distraught over the loss of their beautiful baby girl. That her father, Mario, who was very wealthy, seeks out the most famous embalmer of the time, Alfredo Salafia. And he's like, I need you to figure out a way to preserve my daughter so that she will always look the same as she did when she was alive.
Yeah.
Like, I need her to look like this forever.
Yeah.
And Alfredo was like, Mamma mia, absolutely. And he was able to create the perfect mixture of chemicals to put in Rosalia's body that has kept her body so perfect that people, even to this day, when they see her, have a hard time believing that it's someone that's been dead for 100
I have
years.
to see this.
Oh, you will.
Okay.
Oh, you will. And they just think that they're looking at like a beautiful little girl taking a nap. And because of this, she has been dubbed the most beautiful mummy in the world, or Sleeping Beauty, which I feel like is why you would probably know who she is. So originally, she was laid to rest in the chambers. She was placed in a little dress with a big yellow silk bow tied in her golden hair and placed in a little glass coffin.
Okay.
And this is Rosalia. You've probably seen her picture before.
Wow, she really does just look like she's asleep.
She just looks like a little baby angel sleeping.
It looks like that photo of me, how my mom used to dress me like a Victorian baby.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not to laugh at poor little Rosalia, but yes, it does.
My mom used to dress me like that, or worse. I mean, not worse.
Well, she looks cute. She looks cute with her little yellow bow.
No, I know. But that's why I'm saying like not worse. Like worse is like a bad, feels mean. But my mom used to dress me like a little Victorian, like death child.
Oh yeah, I've seen the pics.
Yeah, it's like absurd. If I can find any, I'll have Amanda put them up.
I think I have one saved
I'm
onto my
sure
phone.
you do. But I literally like that one where I have my little hands crossed and I'm wearing that bonnet.
Yeah.
That looks like a death photography photo.
It's true. Yeah. So Alfredo was like, I did such an amazing thing with Rosalia. Like, she looks perfect. She literally looks like a little girl sleeping. That he was like, I'm not telling anyone my secret concoction that I,
good for
put
you,
together.
Gatekeep, girlfriend.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to take that shit to the fucking grave.
Mm-hmm.
And he did when he died in 1933.
He said, that's just for me.
But then,
Oh, no.
I know, people are annoying and need to know everything.
What?
I'm people, but it's fine. In 2009, I don't know. I think it was like a reporter, I'm pretty sure, contacted Alfredo's family and was able to get a hold of like some of his estate papers or whatever.
Okay.
And with these papers, they found his handwritten formula for Rosalia's body.
Give me the formula. Sorry.
Wait, what is it? Formioli.
Formioli.
Oh, no. Ravioli. Show me the formioli.
If you understand that reference, you rock.
You do. So Alfredo had replaced Rosalia's blood with a mixture of glycerin. I knew I was going to say everything wrong here. Glycerin, formaldehyde,
Mm-hmm.
salicylic acid,
Salicylic acid.
zinc sulfate, and chloride.
Cool. Okay.
Which I can't even say the words, so I'm not a chemist, so I don't know how it works.
Me either. I just worked in skincare.
You did, that's true. But this was used to not only kill bacteria and like fungus or whatever that was in the body, but also used to preserve her body in a lifelike way.
Yeah.
The zinc salt that was used gave her like, I can't say this, rigidity, which makes it so that you can literally take her out of her casket, prop her up, and she could just stand there by herself.
Okay.
Which is like insane.
Yeah.
She's over 100 years old.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like I wouldn't want that for my child.
I mean, at the time in Italy, this was the thing to do.
Okay.
And if you, like, it was such a prestigious thing because you had to be rich to be able to do it. So, like, everyone wanted to do it, you know? And also because he could go visit his child and see her the way she is. So, of course, you know, people that go visit Rosalia have tried to say in the past some creepy stuff that was occurring down in the chambers. So for years and years, people would go down there and claim that they could see her blinking inside her little glass coffin. And of course, that would freak people the fuck out. But that also made more people want to go down there and see this like little girl mummy who's literally opening and closing her eyes.
Yeah.
There is like a video of it. It's not like a video. It's like different pictures put together. So these pictures were supposedly taken like 2 hours after each other.
Oh, yeah. Her eyes are open in the second
so
one.
like they look different.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's just weird. Even if you don't catch her on camera, if her expression is changing, she's super rigid and mummified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 2009, an Italian paleopathologist named Dario Biombino Mascali debunked this blinking mummy theory by saying it's actually just an optical illusion produced by the light that filters through the side windows during the day is subject to change.
Okay.
He then said that he actually realized this when he noticed that the workers down in the catacombs had moved Rosalia's case like ever so slightly when they were doing something down there.
Cleaning or whatever.
And it caused her to shift in a way that he could see her eyelids so clear and better than ever before. And he said, they are not completely closed. And indeed, they never have been. So when the light catches and hits her eyes at different angles, it can appear as though her eyes are opening.
Okay.
So it could just be like a guy.
I mean, that seems pretty fucking different.
They look different.
They look very different.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Everything's crazy.
And like those photos were taken like 2 hours apart, but she hadn't moved in those 2 hours. Like it was the same. She was still put in the same way.
I mean, even if they were taken 24 hours apart, that's just her eyes shouldn't be opening and closing, period.
Yeah. And obviously those pictures will be up so you guys can decipher for yourself. But people have also tried to put forward the theory that Rosalia's body was actually replaced with a doll, which is why she still looks so perfect.
I would believe that.
But because so many people started thinking that she was either like a doll or a wax figure, National Geographic brought X-ray equipment down to the catacombs, and they were able to prove that not only did Rosalia have a full skeleton, but her organs were completely intact.
Whoa, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's very crazy.
Because of Alfredo's whatever
secret sauce. His Alfredo sauce.
His formioli.
Yeah.
Yeah. So her organs are still all in there.
That's fucking weird.
Isn't that
gross.
crazy?
Yeah, but also interesting.
So in the 2000s, I'm assuming sometime around 2007 to 2010, Rosalia Lombardo's sister, that was born 5 years after she died, whose name is also Rosalia Lombardo.
Oh, man, I've known families that did that with kids who died.
It's a little
Don't do that.
bizarre.
Don't
Like
give them a whole new name.
Yeah, give her like a new identity. Like why would you want her to have the same name as your daughter that just died? I don't know. It's kind of strange. But she wrote a letter to Blog Cecilia about how National Geographic disturbed her sister's body and caused her to look different and possibly even decompose a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because of the x-rays?
Because of the x-rays, because of taking the lid off and taking photos of her, moving her around a lot. So she wrote in a letter, unfortunately, I noticed that my little sister, in good condition in 2007, looks different now, with strange color of skin and hair and the eyes nearly opened. Do you want to know who made this? I know it, but when I moved to prove this with the help of my lawyer, I was ignored and threatened and invited to be silent.
Okay.
So she's pissed
Yeah.
at National Geographic.
Well, didn't they need like permission from somebody in the family to do that?
No.
Really?
So Rosalia is actually owned by Italy now.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't need permission.
I mean, then be mad at your dad for doing that to your
No, that's fair.
sister. You
That's
know what I mean?
fair.
I mean, yeah, fucking who cares? But
I mean, it
also,
sucks either way.
She's at this point like a historical icon. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And that's the thing is that this Rosalia wants people to go see her. She's like, I love that, people go
Yeah.
see my sister and she looks beautiful and all this stuff. But she was just saying, like, I think the x-rays and the moving around just made her look different and she's not being preserved in the way that she should be preserved in. And she wants people to go see her the way like her parents had intended her to be.
Which I get.
But luckily, Rosalia was moved and is now in a new glass case that is filled with nitrogen designed to protect her body from oxygen and light.
Okay.
So now she is being preserved the way that she should be. So today you can go down to the catacombs for €3, very cheap,
yeah.
and do a little self-guided tour. And you can see Rosalia in her new glass coffin. You can see all of the people up there in their different attire, and really creepy.
Yeah, you want to go?
No.
What do you want when you die?
What do I want when I die?
Yeah, like what do you want them to do to you?
I'm an organ donor.
Okay, no,
So
you're still gonna be there.
I don't know. I recently at my job, I'm a server, you guys know this. I had these 4 women. It was like 3 older women and then the daughter of one of them, and they had a bag with them, and they made a joke to me like, "Oh, we're gonna order a drink for our mom. We just picked up her ashes."
That's funny.
And I was like, that could be kind of fun. Like if my kids were like making jokes and like taking pictures with my urn.
Yeah, all right. You want to be cremated?
I do want to be cremated because if they take all my organs and my skin and my eyeballs and stuff,
Yeah, I think honestly, I think embalming is fucking weird.
I mean, I grew up seeing a lot of like people.
Yeah, me too. And guess what? It was always traumatic and horrible.
Yeah.
And scary.
Yeah.
And
I think all of
they
my
didn't look the way that they looked when they were alive, and so it was like,
Yeah,
great.
they
Now
never
this is
do.
my last memory of them.
Yeah.
Is this thing that's not them?
Yeah.
Like they're gone.
I think cremation is probably the way to go because I really do want them to take as much from me to save other people as possible.
Yeah. I'm really into I either want to be thrown in the ocean or I want to be buried under a tree.
Okay.
Because they do that now. Like the compost you basically.
Oh.
And you can grow and they'll grow things on top of you.
Oh, I want that.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah. Because it's like, dust to dust, earth to earth,
Yeah.
energy to energy. Like when you fucking embalm someone and they're just like preserved in their weird little, like, what are you doing? They're just
Yeah.
down there forever.
Well, they're not even preserved. They end up just becoming a skeleton.
But it's like you're just taking up space and you're taking up, and like how much better would it be to have your grandchildren go and have a picnic under your tree
that is very
than
cute.
to have to
I
go
really
sit
like
in
that.
the cemetery with a bunch of other random people.
It's like that book, The Giving Tree.
The Giving Tree. Oh, fuck that book. But yeah.
book is so sad.
But yeah, like I just like that so much more. Like
Yeah.
imagine your grandkids, your kids can take their kids to go
And
have
they
a
could
picnic.
just put like a little plaque
yeah.
that says like,
They know. I mean, they know that's Grandma
Yeah.
Amanda's tree. You know what I mean?
yeah, but then you would have to make sure no one like chopped me down.
Well, yeah, you're not going to be in like somewhere where they're harvesting lumber, I would assume.
Just making sure I don't want to be chopped down.
You could even do it in somebody's backyard.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's
yeah.
very cute.
And then even if they move, whatever, then there'll be other little kids playing under your tree.
oh,
See? I knew you'd like that.
I do like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the Capuchin Catacombs in Palermo, Italy, which I really, really want to go to Palermo, but
Oh, me too. Would you go there?
I probably would, just because, like, how can you not?
Yeah, I feel like you have to.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you would, but
I would be very, scared.
yeah, you'd feel very gross the whole time and, like, for 3 days after.
I'm going to post a bunch of, pictures from inside. It's just dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised, honestly, that you would go.
I just feel like how could I not? Like, I have to grow a pair of balls, you know?
You know what? I love that for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you so much.
To growing a pair of balls.
To growing some balls.
Should we round this out with a listener story?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I have one from one of our cool kids, James.
Oh my gosh.
And James said, "So, I went to visit my grandma over Christmas and had quite a few sleep paralysis incidents.
Uh-oh.
When I arrived, she pointed me back to the back room and said, 'That's where I can sleep.' The problem? It used to be my mother's room before she passed away. And after gorging myself on holiday foods, I tried to take a nap. And after I closed my eyes, I immediately felt this insane warmth all over my body. Almost like if your arms and legs were asleep. I couldn't move, but I saw a person run into the room, jump on the bed, and bounce around. It felt like it lasted for 3 hours, but it was probably only a few seconds. Then it became very scary to sleep. It kept happening. Sometimes I closed my eyes and I knew that the rest of the night, or I knew I was going to rest with a major sense of relief. Other times, as soon as I closed my eyes, I felt that weird tingling warmth all over my body, and I knew that something bad was going to happen.
Oh no.
I never saw another entity or anything, but I could hear the door open and something sit on the bed and slightly mumble to me.
Oh no.
I never understood what was being said, but that happened around 7 more times that night. It was a very wild experience.
It was Joe Biden.
James.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was you sometimes you did like my President Boomhauer. Oh Jesus! Thank you, James, for sharing that. I hope it was your mom checking up on you and not Joe Biden sneaking into your room.
I really hope so.
Really, fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah, that would be one is good and one is one you don't want.
Yeah, one is one you don't want at all. Thank you for sharing that. Sleep paralysis is so crazy to me, and especially
terrifying.
like when you can feel it happening. And I've had sleep paralysis before, where something sits at the edge of the bed, and you like feel the depression of them sitting there, and you're like, oh, how could my brain be making this up? You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, if you have a scary story you would like to share, you can send that to dtkpod.com/contact. We also have our P.O. box there. I know a lot of people ask. They would like to send us stickers and T-shirts and all sorts of.
You can send Cassidy a skull.
You can send me a skull for my skull wall.
My skull wall.
I got this approved by the boyfriend and everything.
Congratulations.
He got me this really beautiful, full, with all the teeth, coyote skull for my birthday. It's so gorgeous.
So gorgeous.
Yeah. And so I was like, wow, I can't believe you got me this. And he's like, I'm actually down with a skull wall. I was like, yes, skull wall, skull wall. So if anyone knows where to get good skulls for cheap,
and don't
skulls.
go around like killing animals.
No human skulls.
Just to send Cassidy a skull, okay?
No human skulls, please.
Yeah, no.
I think that's illegal. So don't.
I hope so.
Please don't mail me that and get me in trouble with the federal penitentiaries.
She's already on a watch list.
So many.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you had a wonderful time. If you would like to follow us on Instagram or Patreon or anything like that, you can find all of that at dtkpod.com. Our YouTube is on there as well. And if you want to see any pictures and videos from today's episode, make sure you go follow all that. If you haven't,
because there's a lot.
if you haven't left us a 5-star review yet, make sure you go do that. It makes our day. We just read a really sweet one earlier today from Anna. Thank you, Anna, for that 5-star review. And most importantly, make sure you keep that front door locked.
Make sure you keep your mind open.
And keep drinking the Kool-Aid.
Brum, brum, brum.